Welcome to the Hello Hornets podcast, an official podcast of the Mansfield Public Schools. In this episode, we speak with Scott Cohen, a kindergarten teacher in the district who is also the president of the Mansfield Educators Association. He talks about what the MEA is and how it helps teachers, and also what he loves most about teaching students at the earliest grade levels. You can listen to all the episodes in the series by visiting mansfieldschoolnews.com/podcast or by following the Mansfield Public Schools on Facebook or Twitter. Scott, thank you so much for being here. Do you want to start just by talking a little bit about, what your role is in the district and how long you've been here?
Sure. I currently teach kindergarten, and I've been here. This is my 23rd year. I taught first grade for about 20 years. I mixed in a little bit of second here and there. And I am also the president of the Mansfield Educators Association, and I've been doing that for about probably 7 or 8 years.
And you're the president of that group?
Yep.
Great. And do you want to talk a little bit about, what the MEA is and how you support the district and help students?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the MEA, it's a union. I don't usually call it a union. I like to call it the association because that union word is not always palatable for some people. But we take care of teachers and we take care of students. By default of taking care of teachers, we make sure that teachers have what they need to teach. We do all the contract negotiations. If there happens to be a problem between administration and teacher, we represent the teacher. We are the conduit between the Mansfield Teachers Association and the teachers here in the local association. And, for the last few years, we really have tried to work in a very positive way where we're not always problem solving. We're more solution seeking in the beginning so that we're never, ever, at odds with one another. And it's been a really wonderful relationship.
Some of the teachers that we've been talking to, it seems like they've been here for quite a while, and then you have quite a few teachers who are coming into the district. This is their first year, not only in Mansfield, but their first year teaching. Can you talk a little bit about the balance of the types of teachers that we have here in the district and sort of the what they can offer?
I think it does seem like we have quite a few teachers leaving. In the last couple of years, we've had quite a few leaving, but we do still have a nice veteran staff. And I always like to think that whatever stage of the career that you're in, you have something to offer. Certainly someone who's coming in first, 2 or 3 years is very exuberant with lots of enthusiasm, and they are ready to set the world on fire. And that is so wonderful in a classroom when your teacher is that way. And then you sort of have that middle group that's, still has a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm, but they have that experience and seasoning as well. So it's a nice mix. And then you have the veteran teachers who are just chock full of experience. There's those sentinels that we go to when, I don't know what to do, or a first year teacher or a second year teacher doesn't know what to do. They go to those people and they have an answer. Like that, maybe 5 or 6 different answers depending on exactly what you're looking for. So it is nice that we have all of that, and there is a benefit to every type of teacher in every stage that they're in their teaching career.
Can you talk a little bit more about how some of the more experienced teachers might be mentors to some of the newer teachers and how that relationship sort of works?
Sure. We have a mentoring program here in Mansfield, but I think it's also a state program where every new teacher is assigned a mentor. So last year, for example, last 2 years, I mentored a couple teachers. And one was, I don't know if she was first year teaching or first year to Mansfield, but I spend 30 hours with her. We meet once a week, and then probably a lot more times in between that once a week. Because it doesn't. The challenges that you face don't come up on a schedule. Can you help me with an email? I have a problem with a student that I need help with. So I'm there for that 1 hour meeting, but the mentor is also there for any time in between. And of course, that includes emails and phone calls and stops in the hallway, just to make sure that you get off on the right footing. Because it's not always, teaching is not always what you think of it as. In college, you're taught a certain way on how to, have a certain pedagogy to teach your children. But when you get in the classroom, it's not like a textbook. It's very situational. Depends on the kind of classroom you have or what district you teach in. So there's lots of bumps in the road. So that mentor is really there to keep the person on track, because there are times when you could just want to say, I just can't do this. It's too much. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. And that mentor is there to help reassure you and give you any tools necessary that you need going forward.
So you said you're a teacher yourself also. You've been one for many years. Was there when you were just starting out as a first year, was there one or two teachers that you sort of looked to, or?
Oh yeah, I had a whole bunch, and I probably some for different reasons. Some I really enjoyed the way they interacted with children. Some I really enjoyed their knowledge of the curriculum, and some I enjoyed, talking to them about how far things have come in education. So I had my definite go-tos for the specific things that I needed help at that specific time.
Did you go into, teaching younger grades, kindergarten, first grade, for a reason? Was that, were you looking more towards the younger grades?
I absolutely chose the younger grades for a reason, and I'm certified pre-K all the way to third grade. So I didn't really love school myself, and I was a pretty good student, but I didn't enjoy it very much. And I wanted to make sure that I set the kids off loving school right away. And I felt like if it's like a ball that a big rock that you push, and sometimes you got to push it really hard, but once you get it rolling, it's kind of it doesn't stop. So I wanted to be that force that made that projected kids into loving school. I want them to be happy to walk in the door and sad that they're leaving the door every day.
And being at it for so long, you must have seen kids that you taught in kindergarten, first grade who have progressed through the district and then graduated from the district and gone on to college and that sort of thing. What is it like to be able to see students that you taught sort of progress through the entire district?
Just talking about it, my hair's standing up. That's why we do what we do, is because we're here to make the students the best that they can be. And whatever that is, whatever that student is meant to be, or whatever niche that they find that's theirs to own, that's what we live for as teachers. So to be able to see my kids, and sometimes it's hard to recognize them because when they're in kindergarten, then you go all the way to 12th grade, it's quite an amazing feeling of satisfaction. And just today on Facebook, which is a nice way to sort of shrink our world a little bit, I had a student from probably 10 years ago who's now involved in teaching special education. And it was her birthday, and I said, "Happy birthday, I love you." And she said, "I love you back." So, it's nice. Those relationships between teacher and students, and even teacher and parents, is just one of the many awesome things about being a teacher.
It always is amazing to see a teacher who has, a student 10, 15 years later, but they still remember their name and their face and what they were like. And it seems like no matter what, you never forget.
It is. And it's funny how I always, sometimes they come back and visit. Sometimes I have them come read a story to the little kids. And I always say, "Well, what do you remember most?" And it's always funny, the things that most people remember. It's always usually probably the same three things for every student is, one, I juggle. So in order to teach kids how to count, I want to make them excited about it. So I juggle, and they count while I juggle, and we try and get up past 100. And the other was that I let them sit on their desks while they juggled. That was a big thing. And then I do some puppetry as well for the kids. So those three things are really big things that kids remember when they come back after 10 years, after graduating.
And that must make it one of the things about teaching kindergarten as opposed to, high school. You can't, it must be harder to do those sorts of things for high school students.
Yeah, because I'm certified in Spanish, and I could teach all the way up to 12th grade if I wanted to. And I have 5 kids of my own, and I think I remember saying to my kids, maybe I'll go to the high school. And they said, "Dad, they'll eat you alive. Don't do it. Stay in kindergarten," just because I was made for the younger grades. And every teacher sort of has their little niche, where the high school teachers come to me and say, "I could never do what you're doing." And then I say to them, "I could never do what you're doing." Yeah. We're just we find our way.
And that's a good thing for the MEA is, I think, that whole idea of making sure that teachers are comfortable and they know exactly what, they're doing, where they're supposed to be, and helping them find
Absolutely. It's a support system for sure.
Well, this school year has just started. As you're looking forward to the year, what sorts of things are you most excited about and looking forward to?
I think the thing I'm most excited about is that kids will be able to have some parallel play time where they can be in the same vicinity of one another and look at each other and play with the same materials and share and learn all those fundamental things that you learn in kindergarten about sharing and taking turns and being nice and learning how to problem solving when someone isn't nice. Last year was challenging because, all the desks were a certain distance apart. Everybody was facing forward. Everybody was wearing masks. Nobody could share materials. And that's not, a lot of what we do is not just the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s in kindergarten and first grade and second grade. It's all about, teaching social skills. And it was harder to do that. We still did it, but it was harder to do that. I think also seeing their faces and smiles and is going to be really, really nice.
Well, thank you so much, and best of luck this year.
My pleasure.